Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, an elderly woman has been allegedly held up at knife point in a brazen daylight robbery in Launceston. A man and a woman have been charged over the incident, which occurred during peak hour traffic on a busy Launceston street.
Driven away after being apprehended by police. A 31-year-old man now charged with armed robbery. The victim, a 71-year-old woman.
He threatened her with a knife and stole her handbag. He then ran off on foot.
Police say it occurred at 8:30 this morning on Brisbane Street in Launceston, right in the middle of peak hour. He was arrested only a short time later, as was a 31-year-old woman. She's been charged with receiving stolen property.
Police attended the area and located them just a short distance away.
Police say they didn't attempt to rob anyone else. Both are due to face the magistrate's court tonight. The elderly woman escaped uninjured. Police are asking anyone who may have witnessed the incident or been in the area at the time to come forward. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
A truck driver in his 30s remains in hospital after a serious crash on the southern outlet in Launceston last night. 2 trucks collided just before 6, pinning one driver inside his crushed cab. Emergency services were forced to use the jaws of life to cut him free. Both northbound highway lanes were closed, triggering huge traffic delays. The drivers were rushed to hospital, with one discharged a short time later, while the other remains in a stable condition. No clear winner has emerged from the first leaders' debate of the state election. Peter Gutwein and Rebecca White faced off on housing, health, TAFE and taxes, but it was anything but fiery.
It started out with both sides agreeing.
If Tasmanians elect a minority government on the 1st of May, I will not lead it as Premier.
I wouldn't lead a government that wasn't in majority.
Then it was back to a familiar fight.
Our health system is in crisis. 1 in 8 Tasmanians is on a health waiting list.
Don't believe what you read from others about health. We've invested massively over the 7 years.
Housing woes, TAFE funding and taxes all followed. The debate, more of a quarrel than an all-out battle.
I struggle to understand how the opposition leader can sleep at night with some of the things that she's putting on television.
I'll give you a copy of the policy later, Peter, and have a read.
Peter Gutwein's pitch, a stabilising economy.
Our economy is growing strongly again and jobs have returned to pre-pandemic levels.
Rebecca White's case for change, a jobs plan she believes would see thousands more find work.
I'm under no illusion that Labor is the underdog in this election, but Labor has always fought for the underdog, and this is no different.
Peter Gutwein's platform is clearly his government's handling of the pandemic, but Rebecca White's message is that his party should be judged on the past 7 years rather than the turbulent one just behind us. The Liberals are also being reminded of this past proposal.
We will now engage with the federal government on building a business case for the northern suburbs light rail here in Hobart. It's very exciting.
In 2018, the Liberal government committed with Minister Reen Heading to deliver passenger rail within 5 years. We are 3 years into that commitment and we're still seeing nothing on this rail corridor.
Another study is underway, but the final price tag is eye-watering.
You'd be looking at around $500 million, so we need to work through this quite methodically and carefully.
Labor revealed plans to reform land tax, helping those with properties less than $1 million, while the Liberals pledged to lift the tax for foreign investors. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian disability advocate has slammed the coronavirus vaccine rollout, saying there's been no communication between the sector and the federal government over an inoculation timeline. It comes as a wait list at GP clinics across the state continues to soar.
Left in the dark and feeling inferior, that's what the COVID vaccine rollout has felt like for this disability advocate.
We've been almost like second-class citizens. The information has been very slow to come out to us.
Jane Wardlaw still has no idea when she'll receive her dose, now calling on the Commonwealth to engage with the disability sector, still waiting for any information.
We need to be consulted with, we need correspondence, we need to hear from our members from the government.
John Sol is administering the coronavirus vaccine to patients. Here at his Lilydale clinic, he says there's the capacity to deliver 5 times the amount of jabs currently being done, but he doesn't have the supply, causing a significant backlog in eligible patients.
We've got 600 people on a waiting list at the moment, and we've got another 3,000 or 4,000 people who we could give the vaccine to, just waiting patiently.
They're getting through the vaccines that they're allocated, but they're just not allocated the numbers that they could manage.
The federal opposition slamming the Prime Minister's rollout.
A lot of the delays are directly as a result of failures to secure enough vaccine contracts and then failures to work cooperatively with the states.
It's another set of challenges. There's some problems to solve. We do have arrangements with the GPs and pharmacists, and we'll work with them to get the job done.
So far, more than 25,000 Tasmanians have been administered their vaccination. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
Brave Tasmanian war hero Teddy Sheen has been commemorated on a box of Anzac biscuits. His face, along with a newly awarded Victoria Cross, is adorned on 3,000 limited edition tins.
It keeps it out there, and it'll continue to be, that story will be continue to be told for many, many years.
It certainly has been a long journey, and we're certainly happy that it's come to fruition.
Cripps also donated $1,500 to Legacy's Launceston chapter. Dirt bike riders from all across Australia have hit Tasmania for the annual St Helens to Strawn event. The 100 competitors will be challenged by 4 brutal back-to-back days on the bike as they cross the state from east to west.
Some of Tassie's toughest terrain. Traversed on 2 wheels.
It's reasonably hard work to get across there, a lot of challenges, but you get to see pieces of the state that normal people just don't see. It's truly spectacular.
The gruelling St Helens to Strawn dirt bike event is now in its 14th year. Hayden Dyke has been to all except one.
And I only missed the first one because I didn't know the guys at that time, so couldn't be on it. It's that one chance of the year to get away from your normal life, the drudgery of work and everything that goes with it.
The 100-strong field participating in this year's event met this morning. Loading the bikes onto the truck is a challenge in itself. 60% of the riders have come from the mainland, many looking forward to this off-the-beaten-path way to explore Tasmania.
We always look forward to supporting the smaller towns of Tasmania in what has been a difficult time for tourism here in the state.
Having packed the truck in Launceston and travelled to the east coast this morning, they set off on the first of 4 days.
Today we're leaving St Helens and running through to Bridport and continuing our journey across the state tomorrow morning.
And from there, more scenes like this await. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
It's the most unlikely of survival stories. A headline-grabbing brawl and a 200-point thrashing inadvertently helped one of Tasmania's oldest football clubs, Lilydale, reach its centenary year. Now, generations of Demons are celebrating the team's fascinating history by going back to the club's roots.
The flag stretched back to leagues lost to history, its mascot modified as the club clung to different competitions. If any football club knows how to survive, it's Lilydale.
It's really family, the ties that keep this footy club going.
Families like the Vens. 88-year-old Graham heads 3 generations of Demons.
It's home.
He goes way back to the old Lilydale Magpies days. What a thrill this weekend to see his grandsons play in the old Guernseys, specially made to mark the club's 100th year.
Lucky to be the age I am and playing in this at this time is pretty fortunate. Well, you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for the people that used to play here before.
But the milestone may never have happened. 2010 saw the club hand out an embarrassing thrashing. Then came the club's darkest day.
The Lilydale Ringarooma match was abandoned by umpires because of a violent brawl involving up to 50 players and spectators.
Both events convinced the untouchable yet frustrated Demons to defect to the NTFA. Its old league, and the club still in it, later collapsed.
Was looking at the situation that in 2011 and 12, if we stayed there, we could have been in that situation that players would have moved on to the NTFA for a better competition of football if we couldn't have given it to them.
A colourful and proud history the coach will play into against Bridport on Saturday.
We've been given an opportunity to run out in a strip. No one else that's played here is going to have that opportunity. So my biggest push will be make sure you do what needs to be done, and you don't actually disgrace the jumper, the emblem, the club.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Live performances are set to warm up Tasmania's winter, with the Festival of Voices returning in June. After the event was cancelled in 2020, this year's lineup is being released in stages. The first acts announced today, including performances from the Polish Club, cabaret shows and choral recitals.
We're looking forward to a fun program, a really diverse program. We really want to get people back singing again.
Organisers say they're still confirming some artists, with coronavirus restrictions slowing down the process.
Reigning TSL champion Launceston believes last weekend's bye will prove a blessing rather than a curse. The Blues will take on an undefeated Tigers side this weekend and will welcome back a key player who spearheaded last year's success.
Round 1, they hit the ground running. Round 2, they didn't hit the ground at all. But the Blues coach says the week off won't pose an issue.
We've used this period to top up and we're looking forward to our first home game this week against a side that is doing really well.
That side, the Tigers, brimming with young talent and 2 from 2 to start the season.
They're going to be a handful for just about every side this year, I think, and I fully expect them to be a finals campaign.
Launceston fullback Jamison House will make his return from suspension. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, inexperienced North players are bracing for a tough clash against Clarence.
Give them 10 more games and hopefully they're up to speed and their improvement goes through the roof.
Glenorchy are remaining positive while chasing its first win of the year.
For us, it's just how we go about playing our footy and making sure we're ready for what Lauderdale are going to bring.
A-League club Western United is preparing to fly in for a 2-game Tasmanian tour, and coach Mark Rudin says his side is not worried about playing on an oval at UTAS Stadium.
We've played in Geelong, which is an oval. We've played at Whitten Oval, played at Mars Stadium Oval. So it's no different for us.
Delivering this pointed message to fans wanting a local A-League team.
Are you going to turn up? And how many of you will turn up? There's got to be interest shown.
On the topic of coaches, Arrows are missing one in Premier League netball after head Matthew Charlesworth quit for family reasons. They take on Kingston this weekend.
We do have really great assistant coaches, so I have all faith in them that we'll be able to work with them for the short term.
And Tasmanian superfish Ariane Titmus has stormed to victory in the women's 200 metres freestyle at the National Championships at the Gold Coast.
We've got now 99 days to go until Tokyo, so everything that I do between now and then is really important.
Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
And Tasmania's under-15 boys have claimed silver at the National Hockey Championships. New South Wales had raced to a 2-goal lead after just 5 minutes of play. Oliver Stebbing stemmed the flow with 2 of his own by the end of the first period, but New South Wales was too strong, storming home for a 4-2 win.
Good evening. Friendly Beaches continues its domination with another high today, recording 19 degrees. Hobart and Burnie 16, Launceston 18 and Devonport 17 degrees. In the west, central and south, temperatures are up to 5 below average. St Helens in the east, though, 18 degrees. Flinders Island 17, Smithton, Low Head and King Island 16, Grove and Pushy Park 15 degrees, Strawn a cool one and 14. Active cumulus clouds scattered across the state today, more concentrated over the west and southwest. Now, we are in the presence of a large cold pool of air that followed the cold front through. High-level clouds swept over the mainland, but vast areas there were cloud-free. Tomorrow, a trough shoots up over the east coast from the cold front. A large area of high pressure over the mainland split into 3 cells, the strongest at 1,030 hectopascals over Western Australia. Southwesterly winds tomorrow up to 30 knots. They will tend westerly at similar speeds during the day. Swell still on the up as well, 5 metres in western waters and 6 metres in the south. We have a gale warning from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point and a strong wind warning from Stanley to Tasman Island. A strong wind warning also from Low Rocky Point to Sandy Cape. A warning to sheep graziers for the Upper Derwent Valley and the southeast. Let's head into Friday's forecast. 16 for Hobart, Huonville 15 and 16 for Campania. Fine and partly cloudy. Same for Launceston, Devonport and Georgetown. Temperatures 15 through to 17 degrees. Burnie tomorrow expecting a high of 15 and partly cloudy. A light shower though for Strawn, 15 the top, 15 also for Wynyard. Sunny day for St Helens, 17 the top, 17 also for Swansea, and light early shower clearing from Port Arthur, 15 the maximum. On Saturday, patchy frost to kick us off, mainly fine apart from a shower over the west, far south and Bass Strait. Fine on Sunday for most, so 2 good days for Symmons Plains, just a shower again over the west and far south. And on Monday, showers over the west and Bass Strait, extending to the north in the afternoon and evening. Mostly sunny tomorrow in Perth, 26, partly cloudy in Melbourne. Sunny weather for Canberra, a high of 19 degrees, a shower clearing from Sydney and 29 in Brisbane and fine. Clear at the moment, 12 degrees in Hobart, mostly clear in Launceston, temperature down to 11 and only 9 degrees right now in Devonport, but clear skies. And a nice cool night happening, Kim. Looking forward to Symmons Plains on the weekend. A lot of visitors here in Tasmania for that big event. It's the most populous event of the calendar in Tasmania. We've got Mostert, Van Gisbergen and also Wingcup battling it out. I'll be out there with my puffer jacket on and plenty of hairspray. Might be a bit breezy.
The old Tassie tuxedo comes out. Thanks very much, Murph. You enjoy yourself.